Ready? I never knew how to speak. I was isolated in elementary and middle school, and I always I had a condition called verbal dyspraxia, and honestly, it made me stray away from my parents, from teachers to students, and now as a senior in high school, going to college in this fall, I want to revolutionize that. I want to change the world, and I want everyone to have a voice. My name is Sanjiv FPN and this is my final work. Let's first talk about why I'm qualified for this project. First, I'm a victim of verbal dyspraxia, which is essentially the inability for someone to speak. As a former person with verbal dyspraxia, I had experiences where I was afraid to speak to someone. I was afraid to hold conversations, and I was afraid to even like go up to a person and start a conversation. Not only that, on the technical side, I'm pursuing a CS specializing in machine learning degree at the University of Maryland, and I'm building theoretical and applied foundation in AI and ML theories. Overall, this fall I'll be joining as an undergraduate researcher at the University of Maryland FIRE, which stands for First Year Innovation Experience. And within this UMD FIRE, I expect to gain hands-on research experience, which is reserved for upperclassmen in experimental design and cutting-edge academic work, which is really impressive for a freshman in college. Not only that, back into the technical side, I'm very proficient in major Python ML frameworks, such as TensorFlow, NumPys, Pandas, Scikit-learn, and PyTorch. All these tools and libraries that I use for Python all come up to the purpose that I have today, and the purpose that I'll be sharing in the next couple of slides with you. Moreover, I shadow cybersecurity engineers at JP Morgan, gaining enterprise scale perspective on how ML and software engineers work and how they test hack these programs and stuff like that. So more how these cybersecurity engineers like make prototypes of how how hackers endure and more like becoming a more like encrypted, more like a safe wall for other hackers to break in. And then last but not least, I've conducted ML research, iOS development, and financial systems. As I built a quantitative financial model in my past research experience, and I also have conducted many ML research, and I'm building an app, which you'll see in the next couple of slides. Some things about me is that I'm a self-driven builder with a track record of independently building software, and I'm also constantly learning. No matter what, even to the ripe age of 80, I'm always going to try to start learning. I'm always going to try to start developing my future and always building up and building myself step by step. Now moving on, let's talk about the projects that I have and how I went around them. First and foremost, let's talk about EduFocus. EduFocus is a productivity and focus platform designed to help students minimize distractions and maximize study efficiency. Within EduFocus right here is a program example of my picture being analyzed and how that's decreased / increased retention focus. As you can see right here in the top left, there's a focus percentage meter that determines how focus level are you. And then right here is my face. And as you can see, some things are being scanned, such as the face, eyes, and the mouth movement, and so is the background as well. Within EduFocus, the primary target audience is people who are facing ADHD levels and people who are also like students in college or high school that just need to get off their phone and actually log in. Moreover, I conducted some test studies with it, and I received a 32% improvement in study session length, 28% in assignment completion rates, and 87 overall positive feedback of how EduFocus created them as a better student and overall a better human being as well. Within EduFocus, I plan to frame this with the meta glasses, because having a computer is something that not everyone can have, and overall, I just wanted to make it accessible for everyone in the world. Right here at the bottom right, you can see is the tools and libraries I use for EduFocus. Top left of the square is TensorFlow. Top right is Pandas. Bottom left is OpenCV, and bottom right is NumPys. All these frameworks and tools come in harmony together to create this masterpiece of EduFocus. Now moving on, let's talk about a project that I have recently conducted this past April. Probably sports. Proling Sports is essentially an all-in-one digital platform that connects aspiring athletes with coaches, recruiters, and trainers to streamline sports recruitment and development process. The phrase if you can play they can find you is completely false, and I completely disagree with that. If but however, Proling Sports connects that. Proling Sports makes that true happen because there are a very huge amount of percentage where there are underappreciated athletes or underposted athletes that are not on social media as much. However, they do deserve to get the fame. They do deserve to get the appreciation that they deserve. So therefore, Proling Sports connects them with coaches. It connects them with other athletes, and more. It just makes them a better athlete, and it also puts them in the professional industry. Because there is definitely a player that is in high school that deserves to play at a collegiate level, and there's definitely a player in the collegiate level that deserves to play in the professional league. More on, I use various tools as I use AngularJS for the dynamic front-end architecture, TSX and JS for scalable type-safe application logic, and last but not least, I use SQL and Firebase for the database management. And this project was the very first, and not definitely not the last database application I have conducted. Within this, I explored areas of cloud storage and user authentication, which is something that I never touched before. However, within the app that I'm about to show you in the next slide, it's very important. Now, moving on, let's talk about the problem that many people face. Oh, never mind. Let's talk. We have a research. Let's talk about a research experience that I had. So by conducting the study, I examined the issue of spotting confidently on outputs in LLMs by integrating knowledge from NLP and quantum knowledge. So right here, as you can see right now, is the equation for using LLMs to deduct AI possibilities within NLP technologies and whatnot from there. And essentially, you leverage quantum computing technical tools that have created software programs which is capable of analyzing linguistic semantics and overall analyzing like how people speak, how they move, like what their facial expression is, and what more from there. And overall, I wrote approximately a 10-page research paper upon that, and that was part of my ISM original work as well. Now, moving on to actually talking about the problem. This is a problem that many children face nowadays. Overall, they're as a victim of verbal dyspraxia. Let's talk about how this affects them in the future and how this hinders their development. First and foremost, it severely affects their speech. So children plan to produce sounds which make speech very unclear and very limited, which leads to isolation and also hinders their ability to like speak to a lot of people and overall just puts them in a detrimental state to the world. More or less, it also impacts learning and it also makes it difficult with sounds that lead to problems in reading. So it makes them I wouldn't say inability, but it also hinders their level of reading, spelling, and writing, and overall just the ability to learn. And within this current state of the world, learning is something that everyone should have. It's not it's a human right. So, but however, given with verbal dyspraxia, it will hinder that ability. So that's the problem that many, I would say, young students face about that. Not only that, it causes social challenges, and I was a victim of that, as I said in the introduction. I faced isolation through elementary and middle school, and verbal dyspraxia was the root cause of that. Essentially, many people will think you're weird, many people think you're corny, but however, with verbal dyspraxia, it's a real issue that many students face. Last but not least, it's relatively uncommon. About 5% of children have the speech disorder, which makes it really, really uncommon. So the other 95% of people may think, oh, this is really crazy, and they may stray away from it. However, at the end of the day, the people who are the 5% can't do anything about it. It's almost like a mannequin that they're playing against. They really can't do anything about it, and they're really forced to into isolation. But let's talk about how someone can overcome this verbal dyspraxia and the psychological state. Someone can overcome this verbal dyspraxia and the psychological state by just simply going out more, simply talking to more people, talking like giving a public speech like I am doing right here. giving presentations, overall mentoring someone. That is the way someone can help their role with dyspraxia. And honestly, for people people who do endure verbal dyspraxia and trying to like get out of that frame and trying to get out more, it's really hard in the first place. So which is why I created the first step for everyone called Speech Buddy. And let's talk about the overview of Speech Buddy real quick. Speech Buddy is an iOS app that is AI-enabled communication to attend support users that need assistance in redefining their voice, their tone, and more their confidence in their poise in themselves. Speech Buddy is easy to access. It's on your phone, it's on your laptop, and now it's going to come on your wrist. So we're trying to have it on your Apple Watch or Samsung Galaxy Watch, which is essentially almost like it's always going to be with you and it's always going to give you feedback and clarity. Last but not least, it's more, but I mean not last but not least, but it's like more, but moreover, it's for all ages. It's for an interview, it's for facing a dyspraxia, and it's also enhancing public speaking. No matter what your occupation is, and no matter what you do, and like what you do in life, and moreover from there, it's for all ages. So whether you're a student or whether you're a teacher that also faces verbal dyspraxia and that's trying to gain their confidence when they're teaching their children, Speech Buddies are really good at app to use. This app is also based on the ability for NLP process, which is also the conducted research that I have conducted before. And it is to perform an analysis of the voice and giving recommendations on how people can improve speaking skills. And overall, it's very, like I said, it's very useful for students and public speakers and professionals that want to learn and moreover want to like give words of wisdom to the younger generation as well. Now, moving on, let's talk about the sample test that I've conducted with Speech Buddy. So right here is three users that use Speech Buddy. One's a teacher, one's a student with verbal dyspraxia, and one's a collegiate level student studying for a behavior interview. Now, right here within these graphs, you can see that both of them, not both of them, all three of them exponentially increase, while some may have plateaued, while some decreased. However, at the end of the day, out of all the 5 months, they all came to the same conclusion of increase. The y-axis right here represents how the speech clarity is and how much they improved from it. Now, overall, from the sample test, I have conducted 3 series of tests: speech clarity, filler in words, and speech spacing. And right here on the right is your results. 25% in speech clarity. So there's a 25% increase in speech clarity as it is more like their emphasis on speech is a lot more clear. It's overall better. It's more sharp. It's more defined, and this really impacted their poise, their confidence, and their ability to speak. Moreover, there's a 30% reduction in filler words. So words such as all, and, more so, like these like type of words, like those filler words. There's a 30% reduction in those type of words. And last but not least, there's an 18% in speech spacing. Now, speech spacing is a difficult one because everyone's speech spacing is different. Some might like to go high, some like to go too fast, some prefer to go too slow. However, within the Speech Buddy, we have designed and trained the algorithm to find a sweet spot for each individual. So no matter how the user likes it, we're going to find a sweet spot. And overall, we found that users have they have attained 18% more towards that sweet spot. Now let's talk about the tools that I used. First and foremost, I use SwiftUI, Xcode, AV Foundation, a lot of speech framework, Core ML, OpenAI API for the AI integration, and Hugging Face Transformer, which is used to detect your mouth movement, your face movement, your hand movement, all this kind of good stuff. Right here, as you can see, right here is a ratio between the back end and the front end. So this is a very back-end heavy project that I had to use for a lot of database and a lot more. The images right here is a lot more tools that I use for this project, and I use SwiftUI for the user interface and the front end. The right you see is ChatGPT, OpenAI, which I use for the back end, which is AI to analyze these human movements and these human like mouth movements and how they speak and how their tone is. And then the bottom left is Firebase to store their information. So, for example, the Firebase is used to store whether you're a student or whether you're a teacher or whether you're in college, high school. Do you have verbal dyspraxia? What other disorders do you have? What is your story, etc. There. And right here is an iOS app, iOS of iOS, and then a library called Hugging Face Transformers, which is used to detect your face model and more like it's really on par with OpenAI API, and it's used to like detect your face movements, your mouth movements, your tone, your clarity, etc. It works in harmony with OpenAI, which is why I decided to use it. Now let's talk about the target audience that I have. The target audience that I want to use is for students. So students wanting to improve their classroom, students that are interested in speech and debate, um, AP seminar, or overall like varsity team captains that are trying to they're trying to give like a motivational speech or motivational quote. Students or even collegiate level students that are studying for behavioral level interviews, or business students that are trying to go help their networking and overall receive better advice from higher up individuals and more from there. Those are the type of students that I want to primarily target against. Like I said, speech buddies for everyone, just a speech one to everyone, not for a single demographic. Moreover, I want to also target public speakers as well. So very powerful or empowered public speakers. I want this tool to enhance their communication. Because public speakers are like a type of speakers that I would say give insight or enlight our community as young individuals. Public speakers can also be considered as content creators within the social media platform, such as YouTube, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram, whatever it might be. Last but not least, young professionals. So young professionals fall into the category of collegiate level students that are going to business, computer science, pre med, all of this or law, all this kind of great collegiate level routes. I want this to impact them, and I also want them to use speech buddy to their advantage. Now let's talk about ISM's impact on speech buddy and how as a former ISM student, or not a former ISM, as a current ISM student, I want to talk about how I want to use speech buddy to elevate this. Let's talk about the mentorship. Right now with my mentor, I'm currently working to enhance speech buddy to its fullest impact. And not only that, the ISM impact provides you to be with a mentor with someone else, and this mentorship relationship that you can have with someone gives you professional and industry expertise. So overall, within the professional and industry expertise I get from from this ISM program, I want to use this to elevate speech buddy. Moreover, I also want to address that ISM is not for the weak. It's not for the lady students that just want to that just want to bluff it in AI through the whole day. Within ISM, you have to conduct research almost every single week, and this is why I joined ISM, because I want to use it. Because all the research that I have done for speech buddy was part of ISM. And for example, the quantum economics and the quantum computing about NLP that I conducted was based on ISM project. So I want to use the research rigor that I used for for this ISM program to elevate speech buddy and conduct more tests, conduct more samples of speech buddy, and overall create a positive defining impact. And the last but not least is development. So so speech buddy requires investors, and the only way to get investors in the first place is to talk to more people, reach out to different individuals. So an example would be like, going to a networking event. And the great thing with the ISM is that it automatically puts you in that scenario. Whether you like it or not, ISM is going to put you in that scenario where, I'm gonna have to talk to a professional. I'm gonna have to go on an interview with them, and that gets you a word out of it. So within ISM, for example, this past year, I went to the research symposium at Panther Creek High School. I got my word out of speech buddy. I talked to these professionals about these brilliant idea that I have, and I want to explain on it. And from this, I got a lot of feedback on how I can improve this, how I can elevate this app, and how I can turn this actual app to reality, and that reality can turn into actual meaningful impact that will help not just a single demographic but everyone. Now, overall, within Speech Buddy, it's not for one person. It's not for one demographic. It's for everyone. Students, teachers, collegiate level students studying for behavioral exams, or people who are facing growth dyspraxia. Speech Buddy has it all, and now we have reached a point in the world where technology can not only hinder people, but they can also elevate people as well on both sides of the spectrum. We want to be on the side where we can elevate people, and we want to use technology to help people. Thank you so much, and my name is Sanjiv FPN.
Any questions?